Hi, I'm Ryan Hunter, and this is Kalispell Connections, a program where we talk about issues important to the community. And with me today is Adam Jones with the Kalispell Vet Center. Hi, Adam.
How you doing today?
All right, thanks for joining me. So the Vet Center, I know, provides a lot of important services in the community. Can you start maybe by talking about who the Vet Center serves and the purpose of the Vet Center?
Yeah, Ryan. So the Vet Center is a VA-funded organization that was started in the late 70s, enacted by Congress to help out with the Vietnam veterans and the struggles that they were going through as they were getting back into the world and the reintegration process. It was a challenge, and so we needed to kind of help the VA produce enough mental health providers. And so the Vet Center was created in order to do that. And since then, it's grown to Operation New Dawn, Operation Iraqi Freedom, Enduring Freedom, Somalia, Panama, all of the new conflicts that have occurred since then. We've also expanded it back to World War II and Korea as well. And then we do some humanitarian as well, which is people that might not qualify for our services directly, as we primarily combat military sexual trauma, bereavement counseling for Gold Star families who have lost a loved one in combat or in the line of duty. And then we also serve people that are drone operators, mortuary services, your paramedics and combat paramedics, people that are servicing some of the harder stuff that might not be on the front lines, but they're seeing a lot of what comes off the front line. So that's primarily who we serve, but we have the humanitarian side. We do respond to, actually we had three clinicians, that went down to Hurricane Laura in response, and they were down there for a week, each one. And so we do all that kind of stuff as well, depending on what's needed. We respond to that. We had a couple of different districts that responded to the California fires in order to help out people out there as well. We don't just see the veterans in those cases, we see the actual people in the community as well, and help them through some struggles. It's a stressful time. Whether it's venting, whether it's just needing to learn how to deal with some bereavement or some distress, right? So we do those humanitarians, but we also do the humanitarians for veterans that don't qualify for our services normally. So we will see them for a couple of sessions, 4, 5, or 6 sessions, while we get them into regular VA healthcare or mental health care, so that they can see somebody on a regular basis. But if there's a longer wait, or if they're going to see a clinician in the community as opposed to actually at the community outpatient clinic or any other clinic, like if they're in Helena, they have the VA hospital, then they have somebody in the interim. So if somebody can't be seen, say, until, it's October now, so say they can't be seen until December, but they're really struggling now, we don't want, that depression to last. We want to deal with that and start helping through that now. And so we can see them on that basis.
And so you will work with both honorably and dishonorably discharged veterans as well?
Yeah, so you don't have to be an honorable discharge veteran in order to receive our services. We see honorably and dishonorably discharged veterans, other than honorable. So your discharge rating has nothing to do with your eligibility to see us. We are community-based, so we're VA funded, but we're not a direct partner with the VA. One of the biggest things that we tell people is we can see the VA's information, or some of it, but they cannot see ours. Ours is not shared with them unless the client directly signs a release of information, releasing the ability for us to talk to anybody. It doesn't matter whether it's their family members, the VA hospital, their doctor. It doesn't matter. We cannot release that information without their direct approval.
And it's not just Flathead County that you operate in larger Northwest Montana area?
Yeah, so my catchment area for me as a veteran outreach specialist is Lincoln Lake, Sanders, and Flathead counties is where I go. So it's roughly 11,500 square miles. And then we have another outreach specialist in Missoula. We have another one in Billings. We have another one in Great Falls as well that cover the state of Montana. So there's 4 of us.
So I know the Vet Center, you have a kind of a 3-tier program. Can you talk about each of those 3 tiers and what they're about?
Yeah, so first tier is readjustment counseling. So readjustment counseling is coming in for your standard counseling. whether it's CPT, whether it's any kind of just general group counseling. Doesn't matter what kind of counseling it is, just even if it's just coming to download your week with your counselor, or depending on how often you're seen, it can be once a week, it can be once a month. But yeah, they deal with all those as most counseling sessions would generally. And then we have the group counseling as well. And then we have what we call our rec therapy counseling, or rec therapy in general. And that falls under outreach, but it's still a different kind of therapy. So we do group activities, generally like hiking, it could be downhill skiing, fly fishing, and all kinds of stuff. We do all kinds of stuff, golf, yoga, and we do all that as a group. And so you get a little social interaction, but they're usually smaller groups, usually under 15. Probably the downhill skiing is one of our biggest, with 24, 25 can be up to. But it's really dependent. So you learn your own therapy as well. So stuff that works for you to go to your own happy place, your own place of zen and peace, if you would. But then you have the therapy as well for the clinicians to come and give you extra tools for your toolbox on how to deal with a high stress environment, or if you're struggling with addiction, how you can continue to cope with those and reintegrate back into normal civilian life. And then number two, tier two, is going to be your outreach, which is, like I said earlier, it's not just the fun and games and the yoga and the downhill skiing and hiking. We also go out and I let people that don't know that they have VA services available to them. So I find the people that don't. Generally 14 people, and when it comes down to suicide prevention, there's 20 people right now, 20 veterans a day that die by suicide. And 14 of those 20 don't know about VA benefits. They don't know that they have those benefits available. So my job is to find those 14 and let them know that there are benefits, and to get them into those benefits and help them wherever possible. Let them know that there's a support network to back them. The county here is huge. Flathead Valley is probably one of the most veteran-friendly places that there is. It's one of the top, it's actually the number one per capita for veteran population density. We're at like 12.8%, I believe, veteran population. So it's really high, especially for being a rural area. We have a lot of vets, and there's tons more support. So I co-chair a board for veteran service providers, and I can't even tell you how many service providers we have. I think our email goes out to 150 roughly different organizations and people that support veterans in the community. So there's just not a lack of veteran support in the community. So I'll go out to anywhere in the state, or anywhere that I can, even to other vet centers if they need it, and support each other. And I'll go anywhere in my catchment area and try and let people know what their benefits are. If they need education benefits, support that way. Need to get signed up for health benefits, I'll help them with that. If they lost their DD-214, they're trying to get the membership to a Legion or VFW, we can help them get that back, and then get into those organizations for some support. And then we have the next tier, which is the referral. And the referral is, like, if somebody doesn't know, somebody loses a family member, they don't know, like a veteran, that's a family member, they pass away, and they don't know where to go to get their headstones, or they don't know what their benefits are, then I can refer them out to those places to do that. If they are looking at filing a disability claim so that they can get compensation, I can let them know who those VSOs are to go talk to. The Veteran Service Officers is the VSO. And we can just help them out. Education, again, the same thing. I can let them know what their benefits are, and then refer them to where they need to go in order to get that support. Home loans, it doesn't matter what it is, we can help provide and get those resources.
You mentioned veteran suicide. Obviously, that's a real crisis in our country right now. And I know is an issue in Montana. What is, when you talk to veterans, what's your approach there, and what do you see as the real need there for trying to address that issue?
I think the biggest need is being able to create an awareness, for what suicide prevention looks like, how to look for it, what the signs are, the symptoms. It's a temporary illness that affects many people. Many people don't want to talk about it. My biggest thing is to kill the taboo behind it. Suicidality is not something that, it's literally a temporary illness. And you just don't see another way out. That is your tunnel vision focus. And so that's one of my extra responsibilities that I've taken on, is to teach suicide prevention in the Valley. And I'll teach anybody who wants to know, because it's not going to be generally the veteran that you're going to get through to, or the person that's doing it. It's going to be their family members, the ones that notice these things. It's going to be their friends, even pastors, whoever's close to them, right? It's going to be those people in the community that know them both, or even their coworkers, that are going to notice those changes in their behaviors and can help that person. Anybody can help somebody. You don't have to be a clinician. You don't have to be trained. You just have to be able to be willing to do it. And if you're willing to do it and you're willing to help your fellow man, then anybody can reduce the suicide rates.
So you obviously have to deal with these different generations of veterans. Do you see a difference in the needs and the services for the different generations?
Yeah, so there's a lot of different needs. We notice a lot of them being technological. Everything's moving towards a technological age. Your Vietnam era veterans, and even some of the veterans that are a little bit younger than that, just haven't adapted to that. And we have a lot more resistance to technology here in the Valley, because you have people that they're up here for a reason. They don't want to be around civilization and people and technology. We joke about it every now and then, but it's a realistic thing. We have veterans that wish that an EMP would go off and completely wipe out all the technology, because they would be laughing at the people that couldn't live and survive without their phones. Like that's our veteran population up here. They're a little bit more challenging to deal with when it comes down to some of the traumas and stuff, because some of your more severe cases are going to want to socially distance and isolate. And that's part of the goal of therapy, is to bring them back and reintegrate and not isolate. But there's a lot of people that just don't want to be around a lot of other people. They just want themselves, and they don't want technology. So when we're dealing with things like that, anything could be that trigger. It doesn't matter what it could be. The goal is to bring them in and not have to force them to have technology, and be able to deal with them all on the same basis. I don't want a vet that's from Vietnam era to be treated any different than a modern day warrior veteran who's Operation New Dawn, which is 2009 through, right? So I want somebody who's I want a way that we can help them equally. So if somebody doesn't know how to get into their benefits, they can come in, I'll sit down with them on my computer, and I'll do it with them. So if they don't know how to do it, then we can do it that way. If they don't have that other technology, we have different ways in order to help them out. Whether it's a phone, which nobody likes dealing with, the phones either, but unfortunately there are certain evils that are necessary in the world that we have to deal with. So when it comes down to it, it's just doing whatever we have to do to help the vet. And I will literally go to whatever I can, whatever lengths I can, and utilize every avenue to help that vet.
Yeah, that's great. And then I know that the homeless population, there's always a veteran component to it. I imagine that's part of what you see too. Do you have specific programs look at housing issues or working with homeless vets?
Yeah, we have a ton of programs that we work with. So that's part of that referral process. We have like Volunteers of America and the VA HUD-VASH, which is they help the homeless veterans, help get them jobs, they help get them clothes, they help get them into a house and get them stable so that they can actually be on their own with it and get them off the streets where they need. We also have the Samaritan House that we work with all the time. They usually have a bed for us. COVID has made things a lot more challenging. But we're still working through it really well. We do, like I said, anything we can in order to support the veterans. And then we have the Veterans Food Pantry and Stand Down, and they're an amazing group of people that will go and bend over backwards to help their vets. And so when we work together, there's really not anybody we haven't really been able to help, at least that I'm aware of. And, as long as we follow the system, sometimes there's flaws in the system, but we can go and figure something out to help vets, especially the homeless vets.
Well, it's such important work. Thank you, Adam, for the work you and your team do there at the Vet Center. And you know, it's great that those services are out there for the folks in our community who've served our country and you know, can access these important services. So thank you so much, and thank you for joining us
Yeah.
on the program.
I also wanted to say one more thing, Ryan, and
Yeah,
the thing
go
that
ahead.
sets us apart as well. We almost all of us here at the vet center that work here are veterans. So we actually, that's one thing we pride ourselves on. So most of your therapists are combat vets or veterans, or they're married to a vet. And that's 70, almost actually 80% are veterans or family members of veterans ourselves. So
Yeah, important that folks working there know what folks are going through that they're working with. Absolutely.
absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah,
Absolutely.
thank you so much, Adam. I appreciate your time and your work.
Not a problem. Thanks, Ryan.